Welcome, my name is Barney Reese. I am the author of How Blessed You Are in God's Promises. I'm also reading you God's Promises. So this is going to be chapter 11. And I'm hoping you're enjoying this series. I decided to do this because I'm seeing so many people depressed and upset. And I overcame depression. It only took me 7 years to do it. So I figured that I would read this book that took me 10 years to write and take you on this journey. For those that are not a Christian, don't worry, it's spiritual. Take what's good out of it for you and throw the rest of it away. Listen to what I'm teaching you because I was at my lowest point and I had no one to come help me. No people at the church knocked on my door. None of my friends saw me. I was the leopard and I truly was broken, beyond broken. This is what made me who I am today. And no matter what I go through now, I can always ponder where I came from and how I overcame it and go back to this teaching. This book never got the review. It got great reviews. I self-published. I don't advise it. My dream was to have this book on every shelf worldwide where people could get their hands on it. So guess what? Welcome to the internet. Enjoy. Faith. If you have the faith of a mustard seed and you tell the mountain to move and cast into the sea, it will obey you, said Jesus Christ. Now you just need to believe. Luke 17:6. So the Lord said, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can say to this mulberry tree, he put it up by the roots and be planted in the sea, and it will obey you. Romans 1:17. First in it, the righteousness of God is revealed from faith to faith, as is written, that you shall live by faith. Romans 5:1. Therefore, having been justified by faith, we have peace with God through our love, Jesus Christ. Romans 5:2. Though whom we have access by faith into grace, in which we stand and rejoice in the hope of the glory of God. Romans 12:3. For I say, though the grace given to me to everyone who is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly as a God has dealt to each one a measure of faith. Galatians 3:11. But that no one is justified by the law in the sight of God is evident, for the just shall live by faith. Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews 11:3. By faith we understand that the words were framed by the word of God, so that the things which we are seeing were not made of things that which were visible. Hebrews 11:4. By faith Abel offered to God a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, through which he obtained witness that he was righteous. God testified of all his gifts, and though he, being dead, still speaks. Hebrews 11:5. By faith Enoch was translated so that he did not see death, and was found because God had translated him. For the God he translated, he had this testimony that he pleases God. Hebrews 11:6. But without faith it's impossible to please him, for he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. Hebrews 11:7. By faith Noah, being divine warning of things not seen, moved with God's fear, prepared an ark for the saving of his household, by which he condemned the world and became heirs of the righteousness which is according to faith. Hebrews 11:8. By faith Abraham obeyed when he was called to go out to the place which he had afterwards received an inheritance, and he went out not knowing what he was going. By faith sojourned in the land of promise, as in the foreigners' country, dwelling in tents, and Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promises. Hebrews 11:10. By faith Sarah herself, who received strength to conceive seed, and she bore a child when she was just past age, because she judged him faithfully who had promised. Hebrews 11:17. By faith Abraham, when he had rested, offered up Isaac, and he who had received the promise offered up his only begotten son. Hebrews 11:20. By faith Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come. Hebrews 11:21. By faith Joseph, when he was dying, blessed each son of Joseph, and worshipped leaning on the top of his staff. Hebrews 11:22. By faith Joseph, when he was dying, made mention of the departure of the children of Israel, and gave instructions concerning his bones. Hebrews 11:23. By faith Moses, when he was born, was hidden 3 months by his parents, because they saw he was faithful, was a beautiful child, and they were not afraid of the king's command. Hebrews 11:24. By faith Moses, when he became of age, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Hebrews 11:25. Choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the passing pleasure of sin. Hebrews 11:27. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who was invisible. Hebrew 11:28, by faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, lest he who destroyed the firstborn should touch him. Hebrew 11:21, by faith they passed through the Red Sea, so by dry land, whereas the Egyptians, attempting to do so, were drowned. Hebrew 11:30, by faith the walls of Jericho fell down after they were encircled for 7 days. Hebrew 11:31, by faith the harlot Rehoboam did not perish with those who did not believe when he had received the spies with peace. Your faith. I'm going to try to explain your faith, why it's important to have it, and to always know the Creator of the universe is there always, as he said, I will never leave nor forsake you. I met a doctor who said at age 12 he wanted to be a doctor, and lo and behold, he was a doctor. I met a dentist. He said he prayed to the Creator of the universe because to eat sometimes he ate ketchup and crackers and thanked him for that. My mother and father went to Ozark, Alabama and opened a business selling pecans and peanuts to travelers on Highway 231. At one time, my mother said a man came along and gave them cases of root beer, A1 to be exact. They raised a family till my father passed away. You can talk to self-made millionaires or people with great importance. Here's an example. Steve Harvey, who slept in his car for over 2 years. I'm sure he asked Creator, I trust you, from his teaching when he was younger, and he depended on the Creator of the universe to eat something. Jackie Chan was an orphan who never knew his parents till later on in life. Jet Li was an orphan as well, who was a martial arts teacher who saw potential in him and took him under his wing. Tom Cruise decided to give acting 10 years, and that was all. Walt Disney almost went bankrupt. Oprah Winfrey was molested as a child, quit college, and fired as a reporter. Now look at her. Samuel Jackson threw a protest at the college that was kicked out and later went back and graduated at the same college. Elvis Presley became the king of rock and roll. The point I'm trying to make is they had faith somehow that the way they were going to make it, no matter what it takes. You need to have the same faith. To give you some biblical scenarios, Abraham was told by the Creator of the universe, go take your wife and your possessions and come with me. For I have chosen you to be a leader for my people. This was a dream. King David was to face Goliath, the giant. And if he failed, that would give Saul's army time to retreat. Daniel in the lion dens, the lions never opened their mouth. And after the king saw that Daniel was unharmed, he took the advisors who plotted against him and threw Daniel and then the wives and threw them into the lions' pits. Before they had hit the bottom of the pit, they were ripped to pieces by the same lions that did not hurt Daniel. Noah only took 120 years to build the ark, and this was in drought. By faith, all these things have happened. Faith cannot be seen or touched, but it is always there. Here's another example for you. Let's say you're going to go out and buy an automobile, but you do not know how your credit or your finances are tapped out. But your automobile, well, it's on its last legs. You go by the end of the day, and you find the automobile you were able to buy it somehow, and it's what you won't need. Another good example is are you in Florida, but you need to be in California and you only have $10 to your name. So you decide to hitchhike, but you will be there in 7 days. Somehow, some way. Most fools will say that is luck or chance. There is no creator of the universe. I will leave you with this thought. If you think that everything was created by two atoms touching together in space, everything, all the planets, the sun and the moon and the other parts of the other universe that we still are learning about, even our DNA is unique, then you are evidently a fool. You are not, because you are not. Your guess will make room for you. Imagination is everything. It's the preview of life's coming attraction. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, and your imagination is evidence of things not seen. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Without works, faith is dead. Okay, well, that will be chapter 11. I hope you're enjoying this series. Sorry, I got to wear my reading glasses. Nothing to do about it right now. But I hope you're enjoying this series. I hope that it really is inspiring you to be a better version of you. This is the intentions. All right, to the next lesson.